Years before she was even technically born, this little girl may have saved her mother's life. I received an anonymous submission on my website from a woman in Utah, and when I say my jaw dropped reading this. Apparently this lady had a rough childhood, but she was particularly close to her grandfather. When her grandfather passed when she was around 16, she was devastated, she was having a hard time coping, and she made a dangerous decision. I did have to kind of trim certain parts and tighten it up a bit so that I could fit it into this video, but I want to read it primarily in her words. She writes, "I was in a really dark place emotionally and drove up to the canyon alone. I got out of the car and paced around, talking, crying, screaming to my grandpa. I got back in the car and fell asleep. When I woke up, it was dark. I decided I was done with this life. I started driving down the canyon as fast as I could. I rounded a corner and there was a little girl in the road. She looked to be no more than 9 years old. I slammed on the brakes, hit ice, spun to a stop. I jumped out to check on the little girl and saw my car barely off the edge of a ravine with an icy, rocky river raging below. The girl was now nowhere in sight. I was shaking, confused, cold. I got back into the car and the reality of what happened hit me. I closed my eyes and tried to control my breathing. From the passenger seat, I heard a voice. My eyes popped open and there was the little girl sitting in the passenger seat. I was startled but not scared. I told her my goal was to not live. She then talked to me for several minutes, told me why I needed to stay alive, and most importantly, she told me I was to be her mom. I was too stunned to speak. She told me to go home. That's when I woke up. I was still up top, where the road had been closed. I hadn't driven recklessly, it had all been a dream. And now I drove home very carefully. As my kids have gotten older, they enjoy hearing stories about my childhood and about them when they were smaller. When a particular daughter was 6 years old, I was telling stories of the past. She asked me to tell the one where she and I were up in the canyon. It was snowing and I almost drove into the river because I was driving angry and almost hit her in the road. To say I was floored is an understatement. I had never told her or anyone else that story. She talks often about the different experiences I had with that little girl throughout the years. Each time she does, I'm amazed. This little girl, my hero, is now almost 9 years old.